And welcome everybody to what is definitely going to be probably a show that gets off the rails real quick and goes absolutely nowhere. So we're going to do this old school style, like super old school style. Let's put it that way. As always, we're going to talk about the latest news, but also in this one we will be doing Thor Love and Thunder talk. So hopefully you saw the film. If you haven't, I don't know what to tell you, but that's what we're going to talk about. So as always, I am your host, Armin, and I am joined, as always, by Mitch.
What's up? You can follow me on Twitter at 692 tweets. If you're
Kraven. You can find him there. You can also follow Tristan.
Right now.
Yeah. Do we have any more copium? Because I think we ran out.
Oh,
but
yeah.
you can catch me at SJChance on Twitter as well.
Yes. Catch him there. If you're wondering where the copium went, Mitch inhaled all of it and left over some for me, and I siphoned the rest. So we'll talk about that. But we are joined by two special guests today. You can call them stars of the CBC because we mention them frequently. They've been on the show before. First up, we have Nick Johnson.
Hey, what's up, guys? You can find me on Twitter at NFJ Films, and you can also find my show that me and my co-host Micah do. It's called Multiple Fan Bases. It's on YouTube and Spotify, and we are, we're going to branch out more to other, distributors like, Apple Podcasts and whatnot.
Sweet. So I'll make sure I have a link down below. Just check the description, and I'll make sure it pops up in those little things that pop up, tabs or whatever the hell they're called. I'm not sure anymore. It doesn't matter. But we got another special guest. You guys have heard him here before. He also hosts his own show. We frequently join, and there's collabs and everything. This, of course, is the Nerd Academy podcast host himself, Jared.
Good morning, folks. It is July 14th, 2022, broadcasting live from occupied Texas. The mutants are putting the X gene into Terrigenesis or whatever. I have not seen the Ms.Marvel finale yet. Hi, hello, how is everybody?
They're turning the Inhumans into mutants. Stop them.
Sick of this crap. I'm policy wonk. Anyway, hello.
Why don't you tell the people where to find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552, and you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on YouTube and wherever you listen to podcasts. I have a very, very interesting collaborative project with Alden from Octo Radio coming out soon. It's a deep dive into why the fandom menace is, to put it that way. It's releasing in both of our podcast feeds. My version is called The Phantom Menace and How We Got Here. So the title kind of speaks for itself. So anybody who's interested in anything like that, I'm just going to be a shill and plug it while I have the chance, because it should be out next week at time of record, and I'm very excited for it to hit people's eyes and ears.
I will say, since obviously you guys have your outlets and you have the Patreon, which I obviously follow you and support you on, I did listen to about 35 minutes yesterday while doing some jogging in the gym, because I only did 35 because that's all I could stand at that moment. But, like, the cardio's hard enough, but that actually got me through it. And I will say, you guys don't hold much back, and it's definitely a good look into, how the hell did Star Wars end up where it is today with the fan base? And I'm excited to get past that episode and get into the next one, because obviously there's two you guys release early to, your patrons. So it's pretty good.
It's a two-parter. Part one is very much like how the prequel trilogy backlash, like the really bad prequel trilogy backlash, was kind of a testing ground and a priming for infiltration by the alt-right. And then part two, like half of it is a history of Gamergate. So buckle up.
Strap in. Strap yourself like you're in a T-16. It's going to be a little bit of a bumpy ride.
It's going to be quite bumpy. There is myriad content warnings before each episode. We're like, it's a little heavy. You've been warned.
I do want to bring this up before we get into the topics, though. Speaking of content warnings, hey, Nick, Titans is terrible.
That's
just,
been too much.
I mean,
That's a charitable take. Terrible.
I mean, look, I'm gonna be real with you. I never finished the last season, so I can't say. But I just want to get your reaction to Titans. Okay,
Look,
correct me on this.
I don't blame you. I do not blame you. I do
Like,
not blame you for
explain
not
this to
finishing
me,
last
because I'm
season.
not in the Titans loop. I watch wrestling, and they advertise Titans, and they're saying the new season is airing on TNT before the next season drops. Have they started shooting the
What?
next season? Yeah, like what?
Yeah, like back in February,
Oh,
and they're
wow.
gonna be done like September.
Well, I flew under the radar, but okay.
Seriously, when I see those ads sometimes, as I have TNT on at the bar sometimes,
Uh-huh.
just because movies. I thought they were saying that
There's-
like this most recent
Yeah,
season is airing before the new season comes
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
I'm sure
That's
they
what
mean
I
by
thought
like
that
that
meant.
because like that's like
Huh.
pretty much their only show on HBO Max besides like Peacemaker that people in quotation marks watch. So boy, I don't know what the hell they're
I know they're
doing
going to
there.
be doing like Harley Quinn on TNT as well, but
They've been doing that since the pandemic
Well, actually,
started.
Titan season 4 has been confirmed that it will not release summer 2022 on HBO Max. So yeah,
Isn't it like the fall?
Yeah, sounds like it.
I
Yeah.
like the flight attendant.
That's good. I've not finished this
Just gonna throw
recent
that out
season
there.
yet.
I'm waiting for a Game of Thrones, the House of Conquest, or what the hell it's called. I'm not sure.
House of
House of the Dragon.
Yeah, it's
I've
got
been
Matt
trying to
Smith
ignore
in it.
everything just so I can watch it, like going in fresh. So yeah, it's
I'm actually really excited for House of the Dragon.
same.
I'm one of the few people who doesn't like want to jump in front of a bus when they talk about season 8 of Game of
Oh,
Thrones.
same.
I don't
didn't
think it
mind
was that bad. Like I get why people don't like it,
Yeah.
but like I don't know. I don't think it's that terrible.
Mhm.
And I don't know. I'm looking forward to more Thrones. I'm looking forward to get back into that.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm excited. But that's it, guys. That's the intro. We're now gonna just jump on over into our topics, and the first one here. So let's get to it. So the Inhumans are well, they've been treated like Black Bolt in Multiverse of Madness.
so they 6 feet under. Okay.
Yeah. So for everybody, if you haven't seen it, don't worry about it because Marvel.com literally at 6 a.m. when the final episode of Ms.Marvel dropped, published 2 interviews, one with Ms. Marvel herself and one with the producer and the directors, and they were literally like, yeah, so mutants. Yup, we chose to use the word here. Yup, that's the X-Men theme that plays during Ms. Marvel. Yup, it is what you think it is. And it was like, oh, you guys are not holding back on this because they knew the internet was going to explode. Like, they knew what was coming.
Yeah.
So, I guess I kind of, we talked about this a little in our audio commentary, so I'll start first and I'll pass it around and everybody can give their thoughts on it, then we'll get the conversation going. You know, everybody joked about it for years, being like, just watch. What if they make Ms. Marvel some sort of proto-mutant or a mutant in the MCU? Wouldn't that be funny? And then you get the Inhumans in Multiverse of Madness, you're like, well, I don't know. And then they even lean into, like, the Cocoon aspect that looks like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and, like, almost Terrigenesis. You're like, Inhumans are going to happen, right? And then they're like, no, here's the X-Men theme. Then when they drop the word mutant in relation to Kamala, and you're just like, I literally felt like, I don't know how to, I already felt like I got punched in the stomach real hard, and then they were like, it's okay, it's still a good show, but they kept punching me. Like, it was a little rough.
It's like all the air suddenly got sucked out of the room.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
uh,
It was a thing. Mitch, I know you were talking about it, obviously, during our audio commentary, so what's your feelings on this?
I'm at the point where I've stopped caring. I just don't care about Ms. Marvel anymore. It's that bad. for me.
He went numb now.
Yeah, I literally, I've just gone past that point. Like, Bishop K. Alley, who I think she's the head writer on the show, just
Yeah.
like, yeah, we wanted a way for her to have an inherited power without her family having powers. So, yeah, mutants were the right time for this. It's like, that's literally what she had in the beginning anyway, as an Inhuman. So you have zero reason for this change. That's if it actually, this is where the cocktail of hopium and copium comes in. No,
I think it's running out at this point.
there is that that part from the original run where she thinks she's a mutant and then they tell her no, she's not. So maybe, like, because why would Bruno know, right? Why would he be absolutely the voice of reason on this one?
I mean,
So-
he did give the reasoning to her lineage that none of her parents or
But
relatives.
that's exactly the same as how it is in the original run, where she's an Inhuman anyway.
Yeah.
Just because she's one doesn't mean that they all are.
And there's still
It
the
works the
Kree
same way as the
connection,
X-Men
like
do.
the whole Kree
And there's the
thing to
Kree
me.
connection.
That's the one to me that holds it back. 'Cause it's like they found the Kree arm with the bangle and clearly experimentation. Like
And I think what was it? Currently, people are theorizing the band that Kamal has the nega bands.
yeah,
Which is dumb as hell.
yeah,
Because
Like, if
yeah.
that's the case, then there's the whole connection to the Ten Rings with Shang-Chi. That's like cool. If they're the nega bands, then you've just taken 3 characters and decided one whole thing's not good enough. Like, what's the point in that?
Yeah, because like that's why I was putting out the joke instead of what usually happens is that I said, wouldn't it be funny if instead they made the Kree experimented and make the mutants instead? So
I think
'Cause
honestly that
yeah.
seems to be like what they
Yeah.
could do.
yeah, that's the one.
So
of the
if that
reasons.
is the case, then that's just even worse.
Yeah,
Like, sure, take the Inhumans out of it. I get it. The show tanked. People don't like Inhumans. Whatever. I can eventually live with that. But why just give literally everything from them to the mutants? It makes no sense
see,
because they're not
Well,
mutants at that point.
I don't. The only reason is money. That's literally the only thing.
Yeah.
But is it money?
Yeah,
What do
like
they gain from it?
I don't know.
people want mutants.
Yeah, but what you can give the mutants without being like, right, cool, we're going to change literally everything about mutants. Like, why?
Is it
change
safe
two
to
things.
say that the Inhumans are getting the same treatment that Green Lantern's been getting from DC for years?
Oh,
Well,
what?
kind of. Yeah.
That it's like you're just going to be in timeout indefinitely
Yeah.
until we
That's what it
decide we're
feels
no
like.
longer
It's-
upset
yeah.
with you.
I like that.
even though we've taken and run with other IPs that have tanked and have done abysmally, we're going to keep you specifically in timeout with very, 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 very little lip service whatsoever.
But then you have the Fantastic Four right there, and it's just like, no, shush,
Yeah.
child, you didn't do anything wrong. We'll give you a 5th reboot. It's fine.
Yeah, it's weird. It's because like since the early 2000s, before they had this like line wide, I want to say like mandate where they had to put mutants in the Fantastic Four on ice because they didn't want to give Fox any free publicity for their.
There's certain YouTubers out there. You think the Inhumans were only made in the 2010s because
Yeah.
Google's hard.
Yeah, and they give free publicity and all that stuff. So they put them and they tried to prop up Inhumans as the next best thing, and it was a give and go. And not thanks to the horrible show, apparently for the casual audience, Inhumans tanked. So that's when I guess the minds at Marvel Studios decided, let's bring back the Fantastic Four and mutants.
I mean,
Because they worked in the 90s, they'll work now.
I think you give it a couple more years far enough removed that you're gonna go back to Inhumans at some point. Like, I still feel, because the whole Doctor Strange, the incursion events, they already said the old universe that's affected by Wanda, things are gonna go wrong. I feel like Doctor Strange 3, they're probably going back to that universe, and we're gonna end up seeing like Medusa instead of Black Bolt because they gotta literally pick up the pieces where they left off because that whole world was screwed up and something's gonna happen. Like, I think in a
This is the
couple
thing,
years
right?
you're gonna bring them back. Just it was not
There's
here.
multiple rumors that the Universe and the Humans are in the Marvels, which is literally next year.
Uh-huh.
Now that could include Medusa and Black Bolt. We can make a slight change there that they're not on the moon, they are out, or they're on a moon, just not ours.
That would be
And
good.
you do it that way. But that's if that rumor is true. We don't know.
That should be true because that
It
would
better
actually
be
fit.
true. I want Black Bolt's harem. No, I want his 1,000 different wives from each species. No.
Now, I want to ask Nick here now. Nick, you're the youngest member here. You grew up watching some of these films. Like, X-Men were still, part of your childhood as well, just like the Spider-Man film. So, like, how do you feel about this, knowing that mutants get this and nothing on Inhuman Love?
I am really upset. Like when I saw the episode, I was like, "Come on, Bruno, just say Inhumans."
Yeah.
Because he was like, "It's almost like that. You're just saying humans, just saying humans. It's a mutation." I'm like, God damn it! And then
In
I just
fairness, in the context of the show, why would he know that word?
Yeah.
well, you could say it's almost inhuman.
Yeah.
He
Something.
could have said that.
This isn't the CW though. I know you're
Okay.
used to that sort of level of writing, but this isn't that.
Oh.
Oh, I'm just a little bit upset that that they changed Ms. Marvel just for like a way to just like introduce, you know,
I mean-
the mutants.
Yeah, I mean, like, to be fair about that, they changed a lot about Ms. Marvel in the show.
Oh
so.
yeah, but
I mean, have they? Apart from the power
For-
set, like she's
Yeah.
still
Yeah.
that's Kamala.
I will say, even though I've not finished yet, I am surprised at how quickly I've been able to warm up to the power change. Like, I
Same.
still don't like it. And I think that the like allegory for puberty and growing up is still kind of lost
Uh-huh.
here. I do think they traded it for a different allegory about like cultural acceptance and a lot of, and a much broader topic that me, a white man, is not exactly geared to have like articulated. I am surprised at how much I've kind of accepted the power change for now, and I've kind of like eased into, okay, I can dig it. Like, it's functionally the same, plus like the constructs.
Yeah.
You know, I've slowly warmed up to
To
it.
me,
I don't love
Still
it yet.
ugly.
I had the aspect of like, you know, early on I was kind of like, grumble. I wish they kept the powers that could do, like, you know, the polymorph thing in the comic was played off as she's not comfortable with it because it's ugly. You know, I was hoping
Yeah.
they would do that, but when I ended up seeing like a major part of my family who's still very religious and Muslim all end up talking about Marvel on like social media for the first time I've ever seen them. And they're all talking about Ms. Marvel specifically, sharing and being like, you guys should all watch this. And then other people that have never seen anything Marvel or don't care, replying saying, oh, they're going to check it out because it's representation. I was like, you know what? Maybe the show did something that even me, you know, I couldn't process through my head, but just
Yeah.
see so many people grasp onto it. I was like, I can take a step back and go, it ain't comic accurate from the power perspective and standpoint, but look at what it's doing for a whole, you know, group of people. That,
Yeah.
It's so, to me, that kind of won me over, even though I'm still like, you know, it is what it is with these changes. I think most people, in regards to the whole Inhuman thing, though, how they focus on it is, even when they drop the line, oh, there's like a mutation, right? Bruno mentions it. There was still that hope that somebody had. But then when they played the X-Men theme, that was it, right?
Yeah.
It was like, oh, that's the X-Men theme you just played with Professor X as well. And I think that did many people in. And I've even seen some people now kind of go back to that and be like, this isn't fair to Kamala. And I'm like, yeah, it's...
Yeah.
I understand it, and it's disappointing, but at the same time, I'm like, I understand what was done with Inhumans is almost, you know, how do you repair that?
Yeah, that was the first Marvel show I ever watched.
Oh! Oh! Oh!
And then that's kind of what turned me away from like the other ones. I'm like, yeah, I'll just stick on the CW shows for now. And then like I was like, you know, I'm gonna get Netflix to watch
Damn,
Defenders.
what
and
kind
then,
of an indictment is that? What kind of an indictment is that? Oh, wow, that was rough. I'll stick to the CW.
Not pulling
different times back then.
It's like, you don't even know how the time crunch those writers on the CW have it, and that's why all the shows are oof.
Yeah.
well, you see, this is when they were, you know, at their, you know, peak in quotation
Peak's
marks.
a
But
strong word.
yeah, but yeah, like I saw in Inhumans, I'm like, yeah, but I don't think I'll get Netflix. And then like a year or two later, I got it, and then I watched Daredevil. Like, why couldn't Inhumans be like this?
Yeah, good.
What went wrong? Exactly.
So,
Why couldn't they have writers?
you know, I guess, you know, everybody's going to have more time to sound off on Ms. Marvel. You know, what's been said's been said. I don't know if anybody else has any other comments they want to mention or their thoughts personally or anything.
I just want to know, because we have... There's two sets of powers in this show, right? And they're identical to each other. So are all mutants going to be crystally?
Yeah.
They all need some kind of bangle to work because that's kind of
Wolverine's gonna have like crystal
Well,
claws.
the thing about mutants is it's either the powers come from, I guess trauma from puberty, or they activate when a certain event happens, or an item they come in contact with activates it. So there's either or.
I mean, look, Kevin Feige did say what they do with the mutants and X-Men is going to be completely different than anything we've seen before. So, I mean...
Yeah, but I think he's more referring to, hey, remember the X-Men cartoon? We're just going to do that.
Yeah.
We're just going to do the Claremont run. I think that's why they're using the 97 thing, right?
Uh-huh.
The 92 thing, I should say. Like, they want people to think of that, and that's what mutants are going to be. But, I don't know, maybe they are going to be other dimensional and extraterrestrial or whatever in this point, and it's going to be... No, depends how they handle it. If they jump straight into the Hickman run with this, I was going to try and take a crow with them, but my mouse stopped working. Then fine, I guess. But
yeah,
I just want Magneto. I don't give a damn about the mainline X-Men. I just want my boy.
Agreed.
He's wrong.
He's right. Actually, he's proven right.
Anyone who Scott Summers sides with is automatically wrong.
I can't remember who said it, but there was this very, very poignant, like, the comic book TikTok thing where somebody said something to the effect of, in no media going forward should Magneto ever be portrayed as a straight-up villain ever again. And I was like, damn, I agree with this completely. Anti-hero only, Magneto.
I mean, like, he isn't fully right, but he isn't fully wrong on some aspects.
Exactly. But like so much heinous stuff has happened in the world even since Magneto's creation as a character that, like, you can't say that he's wrong.
See,
I just want Magneto to be far away because I fear for Scarlet Witch at this point. They've already done me over with Ms.Marvel. I can't take that.
Oh, just you wait till Papa Mag shows up.
Yeah, he's like, you don't want Wanda to go say Papa.
I will literally join Geeks and Gamers. I will flip.
Mitch's thumbnail's all gonna have the screaming woman kneeling on the street with the little teardrop.
It's gonna cover his mouth and have like the thumbs down.
I mean, look, changes are inevitable. I have to just see how they handle all this. We're obviously going to talk about some more stuff right after this topic. So when we know more, in a couple weeks, they're obviously going to follow up with some pretty big interviews and things for Ms.Marvel. So we'll have more details. And
I'm going to be right back. Give me one moment. Keep going.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Overall, I'm looking at this whole Mutants MCU thing as sort of we got to get to it because many people figured they're probably going to hold mutants off besides like a couple mutants up until a reboot because they haven't been talking about them. And realistically, that was never going to happen, I don't think. Like, you can't hold off mutants till after Secret Wars or whatever. Like, that's another 15 years or, like, whatever. Like, it's going to be a while. You can't do that, so...
I doubt it's 15 years away, but yeah.
That's however long it is, yeah, that's true.
Oh, well, if it's TikTok, they'll say it's going to be in, like, 4 years. So.
It's tomorrow.
If you listen to certain scoopers on
It's
Twitter,
today.
we're halfway through. No.
Yeah. So... I guess that's that. So that's it for our Mutants in the MCU top. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about Dr. Doom attacking Wakanda, fighting Atlanteans. Dr. Doom controlling everything from behind the scenes, I guess is the best way to put this. So, yeah, let's talk about what is going on with this, because we got another alleged leak that...
It's really interesting, because I went to go see it, and apparently from the image... He looks close to classic comic Dr. Doom, and with the thing that they're trying to work with is that Doom is in the movie, and that he's going to be working, I guess, both sides from Wakanda and Atlantis to get them to fight. And it's pretty much on point with what Doom usually does to get the win.
It's basically just a retread of the rumor we've heard like a year ago for this movie.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Remember at one point it was rumored that Doctor Doom would be the main villain of Wakanda Forever, and then they said it was changed to do Namor once they got all the rights to Namor officially secure. And then now it seems like they're just going to amalgamate both, being like, but what if Doom is pulling all the strings behind the scenes and Namor is like almost like a puppet in there doing stuff? It's like, that would kind of work, because then you offset Namor as a like antagonist, still a sort of hero, you know, angle, and then Doctor Doom can obviously be set up as the big bad going forward. So or one of the big bads going forward, because there's plenty of them apparently floating around.
I mean,
the
if we're
MCU.
doing Secret Wars, he is the big bad.
He will be the big bad, yeah. So, I don't know.
Is he the big bad when all he wanted was a family?
Of Secret Wars, absolutely. All 6 of those events are literally Doom and Reed stories.
Yeah.
They're all the same. They all devolve. I say devolve. They all end up at the same point.
That's true.
What, a fist fight to see who's smarter.
See, what they can do is tie all this back around when Reed finally has kids. He's like, hey, you see your child? You see how he's a mutant? He belongs with them over there. Like, they could also pull on that as well down the road, like, you know, just splitting the family.
Yeah. And what people, like, I don't know, I just checked the chat, and is on redemption for Namor. Namor's not really, he's more of an anti-hero. Like, he's a bit of a jerk.
Oh, yeah, he is.
So, yeah. So it's not really any kind of, I wouldn't say like there'd be any kind of redemption for, like, he'd think that he was in the right, but he's more willing to let them forgive him for what he does.
I do want to bring this up, though, because I've seen people talk about it as part of the whole bigger conversation. If you're introducing Doom in a post-credit scene, which is allegedly what the thing is, you know, it's like a post-credit scene, he shows up and he's been pulling the strings for the war that's happening. What do you do with him next? Because I want to stress, you do not need to drop him in the Fantastic Four again. That will just bring up bad memories of botched different versions. You need to keep him away from Fantastic Four for a while.
Yeah, the thing about Doom is that you can fit him into any other story, because he's been in a lot of the stories in the Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think you can absolutely. I'm back. Sorry, my dog was going nuts. I came back right in time for the important conversation about Doom. Sean, I want to know. Tell me now. I think that introducing Doom via post-credit, like Thanos, is the best play. And I do think that, very much depending on what they do with Fantastic Four, if it's an origin story, he has to be there, obviously. And I do think, kind of piggybacking off of what Tristan just said, you could absolutely have Doom feature. You can absolutely feature Doom in the story. He does not have to be the villain of it. And I think it might even be wiser to shy away from him as the lead villain in the first movie. But absolutely showing that he is a villain and like the primary antagonist of the four, I think you can absolutely do. I think that there is room to have him be like this sword of Damocles hanging over the Marvel universe that like everybody knows it's going to go down with. I love the rumor that's been floating around. I think that's what we were talking about. He's the guy who sends people to look into Atlantis, and that little leak rumor. Yeah, I really love that. And oh man, if we actually get if in this year we get to see Doctor Doom in the MCU for the first time, like I feel like y'all can hear my smile now. I am so excited, and
I want people to know right now, when we get to Wakanda Forever, if I get Namor in that film at least summoning Imperious Rex, and then the post-credit scene is Doctor Doom, if I get both those dudes in one film, I don't care how biased I am, that's jumping into top 2 for me. It automatically, it might even take number 1 just with those 2 characters in there. So, like, you know.
And for people who are saying Doctor Doom's like a really, big threat, how could you stick him into like another movie with a different character? Let me remind people that in the comics, they put Doctor Doom in varying instances of stories. Like at one point, he fought Spider-Man. Now, so it's like you could see that he's all, well, what would you doing against Spider-Man? It's like, well, depends on the story being told.
It was also the key antagonist of the Children's Crusade for Young Avengers.
Yeah.
In the second volume. Guess where we're heading next, or clearly where everything's heading now.
Well, I think that's where Doctor Doom is like the most interesting, and I think Doom is one of those villains that like has a primary hero, but is a threat to the entire universe.
Yeah.
Like I think, like I, even though this is using a DC example, like someone like Darkseid, right? Like, yeah, Darkseid is like a Superman villain, but like he's everybody's problem.
Yeah, that's essentially what Doom is. He's a problem for everybody because he just wants power and control. And like people say,
exactly why, right?
Yeah,
he needs to be in this Doctor Strange movie.
that actually,
can we get magical multiversal Doctor Doom? Not just I have electric powers now.
Dude, I was talking to my girlfriend about this because we had like the 2005 Fantastic Four movie on at the bar, which isn't bad.
I like it.
That movie is good actually. I was just watching that movie. It was like this big dumb smile on my face where I was like, I can't believe when we inevitably get him in the MCU, like we have the reference points for other characters for him to like compare how powerful he is. Yeah. Like we've had Tony Stark in the MCU, so you can be like, yeah, he is just as, if not smarter than Stark. He has like a scientific understanding of the world on par with Reed Richards, and he's a sorcerer on the level of Strange. Like to be able to use all of these other characters in the MCU as like shorthand for the rest of the audience and be like, this is how much of a threat this guy is. Like you put Stark and Richards' brains in a blender, make it evil, you get him, and also he has magic and tech powers. It's so like
he's
so
like
excited for Doom, man.
He's like
so
one of the most overpowered characters on Earth, and
but also one of the most interesting. He didn't fall into that pit trap of he's just OP for OP's sake. He's actually give this guy a Disney Plus series.
That's what some of the other rumors were, is that's what they were trying to work on at one point. So
I mean, to me, the standout part of Doctor Doom, which is always why I gravitated to. Like, before I even knew what the Fantastic Four were, I knew who Doctor Doom was just by the appeal of flipping through comics and things that my dad had, and, like, I stop on him, just stare at him, being like, that design. And then just following through with the character and being such a huge fan. To me, I think everything Doctor Doom, as it is in the comics, can properly be brought over. Obviously, his history, the connection to his mom, his powers, connection to Reed Richards. You can have all that. You can make slight alterations here or there to, fit into the MCU for however they're going to do it. But eventually when he shows up and he's standing opposed of all these Avengers, he doesn't need an army. And that's what makes him so interesting. It's like he doesn't need any of this. He's got his Doombots, he's got his castle, and he's got himself. That's all you really need.
Well, yeah, because for an example of how evil he is, there is a storyline where to get ultimate power, he needed pure love. He only loved one person, and he spent the entirety of that story trying to win her back. And when he finally did, he created the spell, got the power, but as a cost, the girl died. And he said, "Screw that! I got power now."
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh. And and as the other threats, I think in some other stories, he's taking the power of Silver Surfer and Galactus, and in the biggest one, he had the power, or siphoned the power from Molecule Man, and killed Thanos with relative ease. So yeah, he's a real big deal.
Spy now. Infinity Gauntlet, how cute! Yoink.
God, I can't wait for Doom. I cannot wait for Doom. It's just such an exciting prospect. Like, this is what we like, the kind of like the moment we've been waiting for, like it was that weird double-edged sword of, oh geez, I really don't need Disney as a corporation to get any bigger, but like, god damn, do I want the Fantastic Four in the MCU?
Yeah.
And like it's slowly starting to pay off, man, and I can't wait. This is just let's just figure out this Spider-Man situation so I can have Johnny Storm and Peter Parker being bros, and then I'll be happy. That's all I need left.
Slow and steady.
Yeah.
I guess it's building up.
Do we think we're going to get a casting post-credit scene like they have been doing for Phase 4? Or is it going to be a stand-in?
Huh.
There's no way it's not a casting.
Like,
Most things at the minute, it's kind of, here's Charlize Theron as Cleo, here's Ted Lasso guys, Hercules. Spoilers.
I'm trying to remember, because, wasn't, a version of Thanos a stand-in before they finished casting?
Oh, yeah, the Avengers post-credit scene was a stand-in guy,
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to think.
He, obviously, in the leak we saw that's previs, he's standing there with somebody, and then it wouldn't surprise me if he dispatches them, sits down, takes his mask off, and we get the reveal of a scarred big actor.
Let's not take his mask off.
You don't think they're going to do it?
I don't want that, no. They'll probably will do it, but it's like, that's not Doom.
Well, you don't... You don't want to scar the children? They gotta learn sometime.
It might be cool if, we see him putting it on. Very, 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 very Vader in Rogue One.
I was gonna say Vader style, yeah.
Where you don't see the full face. You see an obscured version of it, the same way in Rogue One, the condensation on the Bacta tank obscured Vader's face. You could see his face, but you couldn't see his face.
Yeah.
Something like that, showing Doom putting it on, where it's just enough to be oh, it's that actor, especially by the time they start speaking.
I think I'm kind of in the middle on it. Maybe you show the face or some of the face of the actor, right? But then you're gonna have a stand-in, and then obviously a voiceover actor to do Dr. Doom, right? Because you're not gonna I don't think you put the.
That's if he even speaks in the credit scene.
That's true, yeah. That's true.
Knowing Doom, he speaks.
I want them to do the whole thing of, the first thing we see is actually a Doombot, but we don't find that out until the first appearance proper. So you're never going to see his face in that credit scene. You can, the voice won't matter because it's not actually Doom. It's it was a Doombot all along, just like everything else Doom does. I don't get off this chair. They can literally do Thanos again, and you just have Dr. Doom sitting down for 8 years.
On a chair until he finds Reed, and then now he has to get up.
Exactly.
Fine, I'll do it myself, but it's
exactly.
But it's literally a paragraph long because Doom can't keep himself from monologuing. Although, now that you mention Reed, I think, and I don't know how I felt about this, as I've seen the speculation that the Fantastic Four would be, they travel and then they come back and they're it's a people at a time story. That whole idea, they're that's why they've been gone, is because the experiment that gave them their powers, be it going to the negative zone or going into space or however you want to play it, that it pushes them through time. That would be really interesting if that was why Doom got on the board, is that he's been lurking the entire time, and it's the reemergence of Reed Richards, where he's oh, you.
Yeah, it's gotta be. Yeah.
It's time to get violently petty and get involved again.
You thought I was petty to the people of my country. Just you wait till I find out this young man in New York is back. Oh, ho, ho.
I also so hope that in the 5 years of the blip, that is when he took control of Sokovia and turned it into Latveria. I'm still stuck on Sokovia.
Can we have it so he stops trying to annex Sokovia because Reed's back?
Yeah.
He's you know what? That ain't worth it. I'm going for this guy.
Oh.
I mean, if you have him actively trying to annex Sokovia, that might. I don't know how well it will play with everything going on in Ukraine. I'm not even trying to make a joke.
Oh yeah, no. I was just thinking that
may not play. That may not go over well with international audiences.
Also,
fingers crossed. By the time that could happen, that would be done.
We might also have this problem where suddenly you're saying, "Oh yeah, you know how Eastern Europe and parts of Northern Africa and stuff all hate," and I got to use this term because that's the technical term. You know how they all hate gypsies? Guess what? The gypsies attacking everybody. Dr. Doom in revenge for his mom. It's let's not put that in there. So you could really have to be careful with how they handle Dr. Doom in some aspects. They're we could really paint some people in a bad light just with Dr. Doom.
Especially how they kind of botched early Scarlet Witch stuff. and like had to, and like, you know, like Armin, like you come from that part of the world, so like you're able to say the G word. I don't feel comfortable saying it on a hot microphone. Like they had like Elizabeth Olsen was saying that in interviews about Scarlet Witch.
That's why
like that is such a rocky terrain if you botch that kind of
That's what I'm saying. Like, I have members of my family who are literally, like, you know, on my dad's side, married into, and like, you know, it's Eastern Europe, so it happens, and it's like, over there, you know, it's like more commonplace that people use it, but like, I would be also, like you said, with the whole Scarlet Witch thing, it's just like, it's such a weird thing to approach that angle, and especially with, like, what you said, Ukraine and Russia and all this, it's like,
they've at least got to keep the Romani side.
Oh, they absolutely have to,
100%.
They have to keep it. It's just a matter of, like, again, avoiding portraying it in a, like, weird way, and also not pulling a Scarlet Witch where, like, she randomly has a cross in her room. In,
that was
War. Man, I didn't know that. That was one of those TikTok taught me, and I was like, "Whoa!" How many times I've seen this movie, and I had no idea.
Marvel in general is not good with that, because like you look at like Kitty Pryde, and she's now got knuckle tattoos, and it's like, A, that's a no. B, they're crosses. And then you got Wiccan over here, you know, prominent Jewish character. And it's like, he's got like an Antichrist stuff on him, and like that's not as good. Like, don't do that.
I suppose. But hey, Dr. Doom's gonna hopefully be here by the end of the year if all the leaks are correct. So when that happens, we will obviously all be talking about it in different outlets and probably meet up for it together again, because it's Wakanda forever, and there'll be a lot of discussion. So yeah,
give me another classic adventure.
A classic adventure, yes.
I just need, again, the internet to know that Armin and I are going to have the last Jedi style Force bond.
It's coming.
No, you won't. He's gonna roll over in it.
Whenever Doom shows up, he and I are going to have like a very Last Jedi style. Like the other one just appears in front of the other one. We're like, "Oh, did you see that? I saw that. Did you see that?"
We're a Dr. Doom dyad, is what you're saying?
A Doom dyad,
That's what we are. That's how it is. Well, speaking of dyad, we are going to go to our final topic. We got Thor Love and Thunder talk. Obviously, spoilers are allowed here. So, where do we begin on this
Why do you
one?
not like fun, Armin? You don't like fun.
God damn it.
I want you to tell me why, like, you think hitting babies is okay. Like, I want you to, like, tell me why you don't like this movie.
Okay, so...
Mr. 7 out of 10, but I hate it.
Okay.
He's got to be careful, because he might betray Adam here. Like,
that's true. Hold on, let me
No.
text Adam to see what my discussion points may be.
He's got to go in the Boomer WhatsApp group. Like.
You say WhatsApp group, and here I am using Skype because I'm too old to understand all the new tech, so joke's on you, it's true.
Just like, Adam, Yuri, I'm really sorry, I'm about to say nice things about Thor.
Okay, so in my ranking of the entire MCU, out of 36 projects, it is placed at 28. So it's right next to Captain Marvel, which I do enjoy, and Iron Man 3, which I love. So here's the thing with Thor Love and Thunder. I love Thor going on this adventure and having his friends along and all this, right? I love the Jane Foster cancer storyline and all that. When you mash them up, I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with the runtime being so rapid that I couldn't let either side sink in properly, like, for me to care. And this is kind of one of those things where by the end of the film, again, spoilers are allowed, so when Jane dies, I didn't feel that much because I felt like I didn't get to spend enough time with her in this film to make me care about her. Like, if that makes sense. And that's the real big thing that holds back. Because, like, don't get me wrong, I love Ragnarok. I talked about it in our rankings. The humor in that film, to me, it's Taika doing his thing, and it fits. And he does it here again. And I don't mind it. But just the weird mashup of I didn't care about Jane enough to the point where she dies, and I was like, oh. It didn't hit me, and I felt like that took away from the whole cancer killing her thing. Like, it just didn't work for me on that angle. I wish we could have either gotten, like, I don't know, 15 minutes more to explore that more in length, but not have such a balance of serious, like, it felt like a 50-50 movie to me, if that makes sense. 50% humor and space adventure, 50% cancer and relationship, and one couldn't really take over the other, so both just go enough to, like, the film ends, you're like, I didn't get enough of either. Like, it's a weird thing to me, and I felt that more the second time I rewatched it, which, the second time I liked it a little bit more, because I knew what was coming, in a weird way, like, and I liked what they did with Gore. Gore was my favorite part of the movie, so that's really it. Like, I loved Gore, everything about him. Again,
have you seen that? Apparently, it was a Feige decision to make the movie under 2 hours.
Papa! Why? Why, Papa? What are you doing to me?
We're Wakanda.
Yeah, I guess he didn't want to stress anybody out with
No!
the movie.
I told you, this week has been Kevin Feige becoming my Papa, and I'm turning into Vecna. What is he doing to me? I don't know. It's just, it's weird to me. Like, I feel like something was missing for me in pacing wise. Nothing against much of the film. The only joke that didn't stick with me was the goats. I thought all the other jokes worked for me. Like,
The goats are fine.
The goats.
Yeah, that was
It came full circle. It was funny, then it got annoying, then it came back to being funny again.
That's exactly where I was. It completely stopped. No one made a sound at one point, and then they crash land to the planet, and then he just erupts.
That's the one I really found funny. Like, I feel like if you could have done it maybe twice early on, and then not have it happen for a while, and then do it there, I would have been like more impactful. But then there was like that point where it's just like it happens like 3 times in a span of like 5 minutes, and I was like, oh, it just doesn't stop, does it?
That's the thing with goats. They're loud.
Yeah.
Listen, I said this in the Teen App review that we recorded yesterday. Loud noises are funny to me. I have an infantile sense of humor. I laughed every time, and I think I peed a little bit for when they crashed into the moon. It killed me. That's so funny to me. And again, I'm part of the problem. Loud noises are funny to me.
That explains why you love Melissa McCarthy. Okay.
No.
I have mixed opinions on.
That was my favorite part of the film. I'm not gonna lie. Her showing up as Hela. I was the annoying, obnoxious person who was laughing so loud people had to stare at. Like, I did not expect that.
Here's the thing, though. I will say,
for the
something
first
like that
time
I
she
do
made me
like
laugh.
her in. I do like her in a moment like that. No,
Yeah,
I think
same.
Melissa McCarthy has legitimate comedic chops.
Mm-hmm.
I think the issue is that, like, people have tried to pigeonhole her into like a Chris Farley style look at the fat person fall down type stuff.
Yeah.
And they have absolutely taken the wind out of what she can be comedically.
I agree.
She's packing a lot of comedic power, and you can see that in some of her earlier work. But they have burned out the like, ooh, I'm fat, watch me do a cartwheel.
Yeah.
That, like, I'm sorry, like, low key died with Chris Farley. Like, you just stop. It's not. But that's neither here nor there.
No, I agree with that. And like, yeah, that's the thing. And I do want to preface this. Obviously, I think fans of the CBC know this when I talk about it. Thor as a character is my least favorite of the Avengers. It's my least favorite of the franchises. The only reason I love Ragnarok so much is because Taika saved Thor for me. And I think he does it here again, which is why I like this film more than the other Thor films. But it's like this weird thing, like, I just don't connect to that character at any level. Like, you know, everybody has that one character. Like, I know for many people it's like Ant-Man, or I know many of my friends do not connect with Doctor Strange. They're like, we just don't get that character, so it's not their character. For me, that's Thor. I don't know, it's just, I mean, I can't wait to watch the film again, so it's a weird relationship I have with it, but I don't know. It doesn't hold my attention as much as the other films, to the point where you guys brought up the whole Korg thing. I was like, what the? Are they making stuff up? I was like, Korg has a baby? What? And I was like, oh, yeah. That quick 15-second scene, not even, at the end of the movie. I was like, yeah. Huh.
That might have the best joke in the entire movie.
That was pretty great, honestly.
I figured it out yesterday. Like, what the joke was.
I don't get how you did that. Like,
I don't know how I missed it.
It was so on the nose, like, and his name's Dwayne, and I doubled over. I doubled over in the theater. I haven't laughed that was what I can only describe as a House of Gucci laugh that came out of me. But no, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I don't know. Taika Waititi has this style with like people dealing with hardship that really works for me because it feels superhuman. Where like, not superhuman as one word, like powered. It feels incredibly human, I should say. Where you will get the acknowledgement of thing is bad. I'm good. I'm dealing with bad thing, and then the rest of their behavior and the humor and all of that informs what's going on the inside. And it really works for me the way that like Jane will have like when we first see Jane and she's in the waiting room and she's like, you know, like clearly terminal. Yeah. Clearly terminal, and Darcy's trying to help her, you know, reality check, and Jane isn't having it. And like the rest of that humor, the rest of that can-do attitude, like is forever supposed to be viewed with the backdrop of she has terminal cancer. This isn't good. And I think the reason why it works for me so much, Jane's arc specifically, is that like it is very Taika and it is very human to be like, well, I'm just going to keep doing the thing that feels good because acknowledging the other thing is just so earth-shattering to me. I can't process it. Yeah. And Thor does that a lot. Thor, that's a lot of what's going on with Thor's arc here. And I know, obviously, you know, in the Facebook group and everything, you and I have been going at it very playfully. But like that arc that Thor has of by the end of Ragnarok, that he is like kind of completely put together just in time to have his world ripped out from under him again, and in a more permanent way, that he's still recovering from Infinity War in this movie. Like Endgame was the beginning of him getting up off of his ass. This is that follow through, and that way that again feels incredibly human. That like, you know, you'll have somebody who goes through a depressive episode and they trade like the very toxic, bordering on self-harm lethargy for like becoming a gym rat. And it's like, cool, you've lost all the weight. You're literally built like a god now. Cool. You haven't worked on yourself yet. You have not looked inward yet. And teaching Thor, basically learning the, you know, it's better to have loved and lost than not have loved at all lesson, and one of compassion, and seeing that edge he has softened, I think is really beautiful. Like we talked about this in the Nerd Academy review yesterday, like Thor going from decapitating Thanos and at the beginning of Endgame to adopting Gore's daughter, I think is like such a huge jump. And it also goes to more of those like Odin parallels, you know, where like Odin adopted Loki, you know, like it's very cyclical. And I love the parallels Thor shares with his father. I love seeing him become less vengeful and less aggressive and more compassionate. And I think that emotional core is what like really sells this movie for me. I totally get why you don't why you know it doesn't completely work for you, and I know that there's a little bit of kayfabe involved with how definitely you're ripping it down.
Yeah, it's my gimmick. But, you know, I had to have a gimmick.
What I want to know is your guys' thoughts on why people were offended that Zeus was
perfect.
Yeah, no, he was an overweight asshole. That's what he was. And I'm like, that's what Zeus was. That's what Zeus was in all myth.
So he didn't look like that. He just walked out of 300. That's why.
I mean, I saw the film obviously with a bunch of people I always go with, and they liked the film far less than me. And some of them were legit complaining about Zeus, and I was like, guys, that's Zeus. I don't know what you were expecting. Like, this is how he is in ever. Like, unless he's portrayed as some sort of crazy, over-the-top, powerful god, which he was at one point in his life, but he got bored of that and said, yeah, I could just go slay women and have them, you know,
exactly. It's funny about, you know, them not wanting Zeus not to be fat, and I'm thinking that you guys do know that Zeus would literally turn into a goose to try and shag a girl. So I don't know what your problem is at this point.
Listen, I have no problem with his appearance. I loved it. I love that.
Love it.
I love that weird ass "I'm making the pizza" accent. Like that is the only way you can describe it. Like I know people are like he's trying to sound Greek. He sounds like Pasquale. He sounds like the Chuck E. Cheese sidekick Pasquale. It's very oh the mamma mia spicy meatball is what he sounds more like. Like I'm gonna make another House of Gucci joke. I want Russell Crowe. I want Russell Crowe's Zeus and Paolo Gucci.
Paolo Gucci.
Paolo Gucci.
Yes.
Yeah, it's funny because some people didn't get it, and it's like, and you play nice or no orgy for you.
Yeah.
The orgy Nazi.
I mean, Nick, you've also had some opinions that are kind of in the middle and then go left and right. Well, what's your overall thoughts on this one as well? Like, how do you feel about it?
No Red Hood. Bad. Sorry.
We need to make that a sound bit of Nick's. No Red Hood, bad.
No Red Hood, bad. 0 out of 10, mid. Okay, bye. No.
Mid, and it's a 0 out of 10.
See, that's why I'm sorry, Nick. That's why I hate internet speak, because the fact that mid and 0 out of 10 it mean the same thing make me want to walk into the ocean. I want to walk into oncoming traffic because 0 out of 10
I have friends who say that. I actually have friends, and I'm like, so what? Like, we go out and see a movie, and we're like, so what'd you think? 0 out of 10, mid. And we're like, what? You said it was mid, so that's like somewhat of a passable score. So why are you saying it's a 0 out of 10? Oh, wait, did I get cut?
No, you're good. I can
hear.
Oh, it just like went quiet. I'm like, oh shit, did I get Sean?
It's because everyone's processing how dumb kids are these days. It's just like,
Yeah, but I really like after seeing it like a second time, like I might have liked it just slightly a little bit less because like when I saw it the first time, I was like, that was really fun. I really enjoyed it, and then I saw it the second time, I was like, okay. Not as much as the first time, but I still liked it. I still had fun. I feel like I could have been fine if there was just like a little bit less jokes in the film and maybe less Korg and more gore and more Valkyrie. Like that's probably like one of the few gripes I have with the film. Like I just want more gore and more Valkyrie in that film because like I don't know why because like what does Valkyrie have? Like what does Valkyrie have to contribute to the film? Besides just being there, like what does she have?
What the hell kind of criticism is that?
You don't know what a Valkyrie does.
Like, why is she in the film?
She's
puff.
She's integral to the plot. She's helping move it along. She's Jane's confidant. She's kind of like a guiding force for Thor. Yeah,
but I know, but I'm just saying, like if you like, you need to know what a Valkyrie actually is, and like she would be there if Thor doesn't have anyone else. She's one of the ones. Like a Valkyrie is a warrior at heart.
Did the movie explain this, or did I miss it? But who was left in charge of New Asgard when she left?
Meek.
Yeah.
Was it Meek? Okay, that's what I thought. But I was like, is this a joke or not? I couldn't tell because Taika. Yes. So, okay, so
both.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think I'm right there with Mitch. I just wish that there could have been slightly less jokes. Like to me, Ragnarok again.
Hold on, you're with who?
I'm with Nick on this one.
You
with
mean
the
me?
jokes.
Thank you.
Oh,
yeah.
Mitch became Nick. There you go.
He couldn't bring himself to say it. He couldn't bring himself to say I agree with Nick.
Everything.
He couldn't do it.
Yeah, I'm like, if
he has to gaslight himself into saying it was Mitch who said that.
If I agree with Nick, there's no turning back right now. What can I say?
Nick, you're a good sport.
No, it's just like it is the whole thing where Ragnarok to me was the perfect amount of jokes, and I know
could have been longer.
Yeah, that's the two complaints. Again, I think in due time when I watch it again, there's a high % chance it's gonna stay right where it is, or maybe get bumped slightly up because I have to watch some of the films around it, which I always do when it's a newer film. But
I like the jokes. It's a little less, but I get it for like a person for Thor who's still going through his coping mechanisms from his his experiences from the past couple of films, because one of the coping mechanisms is laughter, trying to play things off so you seem that you're okay.
If you're not laughing, you're crying. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for Thor on that end, I get why he'd be joking a lot and people would be put off by that, but need to understand the context of why he's acting that way.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I just can't take slander for a movie that has eternity in it. So I rebuke any negative comment about this movie.
That was quite shocking as well to see that. That was, yeah. And I will say, because I haven't talked about this yet, and Jared brought it up, the whole he's going to be the adoptive parent and he's going to do it better than Odin and he's going to do this right and, raise her right. That to me was probably one of my like top 5 MCU moments of all time. Like the ending of the film where he's like, Gore's there and he's like, yeah, I will watch her and raise her. And then he's doing his best. He's become a father figure. He's still having fun with her though. And the fact that he's going to train her very early on and they are love and thunder, to me, that worked. Like, that ending of the film, that entire sequence, in my top 5 in the MCU ever. Like, that's how much I love it. Like, that aspect of the film, I was like, if the next movie is those two just doing more of that and involving other characters, from that world and going on an adventure and Taika at his best with the humor, that might end up being in my top 5 MCU films, because my God, I want more of that.
And a slight thing for people who want to read the storyline, which is based on Love and Thunder, it's a really good story. Just one thing, towards the end, it goes a little bit different, as Thor doesn't adopt anyone because Gore's entire family doesn't come back. So
I'm saying this entire thing is nowhere near the Jason Aaron run.
Yeah.
It's got Gore and Jane in it, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Well, that and God's dying, but yeah.
Yeah.
Well, did they die? We didn't see any.
Well, they had to die.
You saw one at the start.
I was gonna say we saw
it's
one.
a slideshow of.
There's
dead
also
gods.
the behemoth thing that's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Thanagar or something like that.
Yeah. Blackagar, Boltagon, something like that.
Yeah, I know. Why you guys?
There was that guy in the beginning who got beheaded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, 'cause that's my main problem with Gore. Right? I said this yesterday in the Teen Nap review. He has that one scene at the start, but then he's never really established as a threat to Thor.
Yeah.
I mean, he did stab Valkyrie.
Yeah, but that's
That
at
was
the end of the movie,
Okay,
though.
okay.
Like, there's no scene of like, oh, look, Hela's here. Oh, she just broke his hammer. Well, I guess Thor's screwed.
Yeah,
like, there was
yeah.
nothing like that for. It's like, I'm gonna poke you in the neck like with the sword. He's gonna say it's sharp, and that's, I guess, the equivalent in this movie. It's like, just
I mean, I would have liked him, like, being seen killing more gods, but I did like the overall character of Gore. Especially,
his character's great. Like, it's
especially
purely
when
for
he's
the case
talking
of,
with
I just
kids.
want more of Gore. Like,
I really did adore the scenes where Gore was talking to the children and seeing like how his thought process is being warped, and it was actually pretty fun seeing him do that.
I will say, like, one of the scenes that really, I think I was the only person in the theater that reacted to it, and I looked like Randy Marsh covered in semen, and that was when they showed Valkyrie, or like Sif in her like comic accurate look. I was legit like, my wife just looked at me, she goes, oh, that was the moment for you. I was like, that was the moment, that look and all that. And,
Well,
yeah.
about that scene, what were your thoughts on the whole little joke where Sif said she was going to go to Valhalla, and Thor had to correct her, saying that you actually survived the battle? So, yeah.
I thought
so
that scene was let itself down by how the pair of them were acting.
Yeah.
She has
yeah.
some weird like line reading in that bit, and it's weird.
Yep.
One of my biggest gripes with the movie is, and this is very specific, and I'm still, I wish I got a chance to see the movie again so I could have more examples. And it's not even a humor thing. It's the way that this movie, way more than Ragnarok does, a lot of the dialogue feels like it's deliberately trying to spoof the way that Thor comics are written.
Mm.
And like the dialogue in those are written. Like, and the biggest offender for me is, Sif, you're missing an arm. There's something about that. It has that very or it feels like they're trying to do like a very pulpy,
Or when,
like think Princess Bride, but like way over the top kind of dialogue. We're like, we're trying to make it sound old timey and fanciful and but like in a funny way. We're like, we're not going to try to put any bells and whistles on this. It's just going to be weirdly over the top. Have at thee, kind of thing.
Or when, I kind of got that when he was talking to Star-Lord as well.
Yeah.
I think the problem is that they're trying to make their speech pattern more normal than as that people automatically assume that that old Shakespearean talk speech pattern is still relatively, I guess, young and well, where other races think it's not anything out of the ordinary. So that's where it kind of seems like it's almost over the top, like it's just a widespread thing that aliens still, some alien species still talk in an old Shakespearean.
Speaking of the speech patterns, though, it's kind of loosely related. But going back to the ending with the daughter, like Gore's daughter and Thor, can we have Thor do your birthright was to blank in Thor 5? Like just completely mimic coded, but then send it the other way.
Yeah.
Like just make that a joke. Like just give me that.
I don't know. Like it's interesting because one of the things that's going to stick out, I think, is going to be interesting that really sticks out this second weekend is how much does it make at the box office, right? Because like Marvel films have been weird recently. They're very front loaded, but the drop off has been like, especially in the US, it's been rapid. And then international does decent with them. Again, people saying it needs to hit $1 billion to be a success. Where's that energy with every other single film in the world? Like, come on. No.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with
that same track record is the problem with that.
Yeah.
I think part of it is, again, like pandemic box office is still very real.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. The fact that there's been such a quick turnaround time for stuff to end up on Disney Plus, I think is absolutely a factor.
Yeah. Yep.
I think you have people who are going, this is not a Avengers Endgame level, earth-shattering, No Way Home, good example again. We're like, I can maybe sit this one out, wait a month and a half, and it'll be on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Or people like us who would like do repeat viewings, maybe go, okay, I got one in the can. I can wait until Disney Plus to rewatch this.
I also think it's also story and character based because it's still Thor. It's not like it's Spider-Man or Batman where people even casuals would go see the movie more often than not. Because
Ragnarok made like what, 700 mil? I wouldn't be surprised if this makes like the same money as Doctor Strange did. And that was like what, 900 as newly.
Yeah, because I think like this currently it's sitting on
490.
Like
Doctor Strange, isn't it? Like around that.
Yeah, because I think like currently it's like 450 million. I think.
I will say, like Tristan also brought this up in regards to the people that go see it. Marvel, if you look at what they put the advertising into for this film, they were pushing for more of a let's pull in the female demographic, and 53% of the people that saw it were male. So it didn't work to pull in the females. So it's like, I think they kind of expected a little bit of a female like kick up that they didn't get. And again, I kind of get it, but it's. They gotta adjust.
They did have that Greek aspect to the movie, so you wouldn't want to have more males at the show.
But speaking of the women's though, like Jane, well, what are they doing with Jane? Obviously, we know what they've done with her, but what would you know? She's coming back. She's staying in Valhalla.
She'll be back.
She'll probably be back. They'll probably. I don't know if they're going to keep using Mighty Thor. They might just give her a Valkyrie role. Because that's what happened in the comics, where she was Thor for a little bit, and then they changed her to be a Valkyrie.
I hope they keep her as Thor.
I think.
Did anyone get a reaction
when that is she has no hammer?
Yeah, it was that thing.
That thing was and he loses Mjolnir again, and
the thing about that was kind of weird because he actually people want to know why did she get the hammer? Well, he enchanted the hammer a little bit. That's the reason why. Yeah, that's the reason why the hammer went to her.
I wouldn't call that a retcon. I feel
Oh,
like a retcon is like where you're actively trying to like sneakily change something, and that's more just kind of like adding a page in the book. Like
Well,
that flashback scene
It's
didn't
what it's
change
retroactive
anything.
continuity, right? That is you're adding stuff previously in the present, so it retcon gets used for big, massive changes, like the parents are different or whatever for a certain character. Like, even though this is small, it's still a retcon. It's because it's retroactive.
It's a little weird because
Yeah.
we see another version of that later on in the movie where Thor empowers all the kids with the power of Thor for a limited time. So, so they wouldn't be Thunder Gods as well. And that same thing applies to the Hammer and Jane, because he inadvertently said that he wanted the Hammer to always protect her. And since she's not there anymore, I guess the enchantment got dispelled, and he has the Hammer now.
The question I have, was it a spell or was it the Hammer making a choice?
It depends if they want to.
Because these things have emotions. This movie,
Yeah,
That was the one
I think
part
it's
that
both.
that was the one thing that made me go, oh, what? Like I did not like that part.
Because they're playing off. What was it? The
Bloodstorm,
current.
innit?
Yeah, the guy, like I think especially with the current run where the hammer or the power inside the hammer is alive and it can choose whatever it wants. So if they're going to play that, it's pretty interesting, especially with what Taika had with the scenes with the other weapons where they had apparently personalities and sentience. Seeing
Stormbreaker's a petty bitch. Like,
yeah, Stormbreaker coming out of nowhere all of a sudden and saying, "What'd you say?"
Stormbreaker wants your passwords.
give me your phone, Thor. Give me your phone now.
Oh. Yeah. I don't know. Is there anything
That's
else we
nice.
could say on this, other than like maybe give it like a score? I guess.
I think there should have been a scene where Stormbreaker's going through Thor's phone, and it's like, "I see you've been liking Excalibur's pictures. What's up with that?"
Who's the
What?
Ebony Blade?
God,
What's this
God
about?
damn it, Mitch! I was thinking the same exact joke. My mouth opened, and then you said it.
That's my superpower. Really.
Did
Colonializing
anyone's movie theater get a reaction when Hamdo showed up?
Yes.
Yeah, there was a sizzle.
Yeah.
There was a little bit of ooh.
Oh no, I went like one of the first showings in the morning, so there's only like 15 people. There's only like 50 people there, and by the end, there's only me and like 5 other people waiting. The other 4 were all happy about it, so not really much of a reaction.
You see, every Marvel movie I've went to, no one has stuck around for the credits.
Oh.
Besides, like, Let There Be Carnage.
Oh God.
Why?
I don't.
I'm
and
learning
it's-
so
and
much
it's
about
the
you.
only one that, and it's the only one that's gotten like the loudest reaction.
Like
I
they
mean,
trying to
that's
like
because
hope
that's-
that
that's
Spider-Man's
stage.
gonna show up at the end.
That's unfortunate.
That's
Speaking
an
of showing up, I was surprised there's no symbiote connection in this.
Yeah.
Which makes me think. they're not
I
really
wanted there to
involved.
be, but I also prepared myself for there not to be because I at this point have no idea what to expect with the Sony deal and how much they can get away
I mean,
with.
they've mentioned Spider-Man, and they got the dude from Damage Control and Ms.Marvel. So
I know, but I feel like that's more of like a Marvel-based connection, and like a name drop is different than like having the symbiote physically be in something.
Wait, what you want it like a name drop or something of Null or something like that?
Well, not necessarily. You could have just had a more symbiote-looking thing in there.
Did we want Gore to be like, oh wow, this sword, it rolls down a hill like a turd in the wind. Oh, is that a Venom connection? Oh,
That's exactly what I wanted.
That's what I wanted too. I didn't get it.
I wanted one of the monsters that came out of the Necro sword to be Vulture, but the version of Vulture that's in Morbius.
hey, I think that maybe a couple guys in us are getting together. I think we should team up to stop the Spider-Man guy.
And something to do with
Interested?
Spider-Man.
Oh,
But then they'll cut that out after like 6 months.
This is why I should just stick with the Chaos King. Do that. Ignore Null. Just make this
yeah.
the Chaos King. Got the Shadow Realm. It's already there.
But everyone likes Null.
Yeah, but Sony wants no.
Sony wants them, so no one's gonna like them.
Like, let's be honest here. Venom 3 is gonna be no. There's no way they don't. There's no chance they don't. It's gonna be no.
Oh my God, you're right.
Just skip everything.
Where can you go with those Venom movies, right? You've done that.
Venom
you've
versus
done Carnage.
Spider-Man.
This was the only next big thing you could do for a Venom solo movie is no.
I just realized you're revealing the pitch. They're like, look, Venom is going to have wings, and Tom Hardy's going to be sweaty flying across San Francisco. They're like, oh my God.
No, Venom, you got wings now, man? Come on, we got flying around like an angel, man?
We can fly our way to the heavens.
Oh.
It's like come watch
are
the
an
movie.
anime
Right
now.
right?
I hate all of this, but I can't wait to watch it. Oh.
Because there
The
was
best
Morbius is
the
gonna
Black
show up
Armor
for
guy
some
and
reason.
stuff.
Yeah, there was, yeah. Huh. They could make
Everyone's
a
like,
connection.
oh, it's the symbiote. It's like, nah, it's not a symbiote at all. It's that.
I mean, you could easily retcon it, because this film retcons things too, so.
I mean, you could, but
Yeah.
that's you borrowing Sony.
So, look, overall, I guess we'll end this conversation. We'll go around the circle, everybody give their final thoughts. My final thoughts are, besides me working my gimmick where I hate everything about this film, I enjoy a whole lot of it. I just wish there was a little bit more separation between serious moment to a joke immediately after. And that's probably my biggest complaint. The things I love in this film are, well, I absolutely love them to death. And the things I don't like about it are like, well, that's the MCU doing what the MCU does, and you can't win them all, unfortunately. It doesn't go and, like, just outright make me hate everything about everything, which, some people will say that, like, Eternals did that to them or whatever, which, it is what it is. A lot of people didn't like that film.
And they are
You included.
uncultured swine.
Yeah. This film lands right around in Eternals territory for me. It's like a 7.5 to like an 8. It's right there for me. I do not mind rewatching it. I'm actually excited to rewatch it for when we do the audio commentary and seeing how it's going to be on Disney Plus rather quick, just like Doctor Strange. I can't wait to rewatch it again. That's kind of just where I'm at. I think the film's probably going to grow on me more and not be like Guardians 2, where Guardians 2, I legitimately don't want to rewatch it ever. So, yeah. Mitch, what's your feelings on it?
Well, first of all, I think you need to stop lying to everyone and actually admit it's not a bit.
No. Well, okay, fine. Film bad. Joker masterpiece. Incel army. What am I? Oh, The Last Jedi terrible.
All right, now it's not funny anymore. Now
What
I
else?
have to kill you.
What else do they say out there?
Now I have to kill you.
Jared's gonna show up at my door. It's a mercy killing.
Please do, because my feelings are already hurt enough.
I'm
This
gonna be
entire
like
year-
Sabretooth in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
I kind of just wait to see Mitch's opinion. They're like, oh, he likes that. Oh, well, I know what I'm gonna hate.
I mean, I did tell you the second I got back and we started recording, I said people are gonna hate this movie. That wasn't an indication for you to actively then go hate it and bully you.
In my mind, I already knew. I'm like, I know what must be done.
Just like, oh, he's gonna hate this movie.
Oh,
No, you might be joking, but since Eternals came out, my feelings have been hurt a lot, and there's no HR here, so I want to make it public.
oh.
There will be a twit longer about it later on. But yeah, I think I enjoyed it. It's that eternity moment's like one of my favorite things Marvel's ever done, just because he's just sitting there like he should, and he's a beautiful spacey boy. But if I had to give it a score, probably it's about a 7, I reckon. I enjoyed it. There's a lot to like about this movie than dislike personally, so yeah. And you'll find out where I rank it when we do the members thing.
Ah, see, there we go. I guess, Tristan, thoughts?
Oh, I liked it. It's good. I don't know why people are up on it against us seeing the story with an epilogue and characters coping with what happened, and it was good. It's just I wish it was a little longer, and I guess we got to have a little bit more time with Jean. It's just that it was a little relatively short, in that we did see that a lot of scenes were cut from the runtime. So there's that. For me, I give it maybe like a 7.5, maybe an 8. I did like really enjoy it. Doesn't really like, I do see things wrong with it. It's just that, especially with the comedy, and for some people, it's I think they're like overselling it more often than not. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Let's go to Nick. What do you got?
Yeah, I really liked it. You know, it's again, could have been longer, could have had less jokes, maybe touch up on like I mean, obviously it's not their fault because, you know, Marvel was rushing in, but maybe, you know, just touch up on the visual effects just a little bit more.
You went this entire damn show without mentioning CGI.
Let me just say, I don't blame them. All right, like, you know, they were rushing it, but I don't blame them. You know, they were doing the best they could do. And yeah, I really liked it. It's fine. Just a 7 out of 10 movie for me.
I mean, yeah, okay. Do we want to just quickly talk a little bit about? We'll talk about it after. Then, Jared, your take on it and your score.
Which is 3.5 screaming goats out of 5. I quite like this movie. It's closer to 4 than it is to 3 on that for me. I gave it like a solid B yesterday because you do a letter ranking with Nerd Academy. Yeah, no, I loved it a lot. I think this is a beautiful movie, both thematically and visually. Everybody brings their A game performance-wise. I love the humor. And I really, really, really want a 5th Thor.
Yeah. Okay.
You're going to get it.
Yeah, we're going to get that.
Anyone noticed a hoodie and vest that Gore's daughter was wearing? Did you notice the colors of them?
No.
They're purple and green.
And
It's Goblin mode.
I was going to say Hulk, but Mitch, did you not figure it out?
Interesting.
That it was like Hulk
she's a
colors?
child of eternity, right? She's empathy.
That's the goal one. Yeah, she's empathy, right? Maybe. I don't know if they'll change her.
Or singularity, or...
Yeah. So I guess quickly we'll just round back to the final part of this. The CG, that's been brought up recently. Look, CG is CG. Like, did I have problems with it? Yeah, some shots look better than expected. Overall, it does a fine enough job that it never distracted me as bad, besides Jane's helmet when they were in the Omnipotent City, and I was like, that's terrible.
The only thing I want to say about the CG is that it's not just a Marvel problem. It's an industry-wide problem, but people are using Marvel as a springboard because, you know, they're pretty big right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just let that out there that, you know, the whole everywhere it's pretty bad.
VFX artists need to unionize, and as much as I love the steady march of content from Disney Plus and from Marvel and Star Wars as a whole, I don't think it would be terrible if we staggered these out just a little bit more.
Yeah.
A, for production quality, and B, I just think it's a little bit too much. Like, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I just it needs something needs to give here, and treating these artists, putting them into a VFX sweatshop, definitely isn't it. And I implore these artists to unionize and maybe even strike, and force the hand of studios to treat them with common human decency.
Speaking of CGI, I round of applause for the golden shower jokes that no one's talking about in this movie, because that was every time there is blood, it is gone.
Well, I guess that's gonna end it then for
I don't want to
everybody.
be reminded of R. Kelly. That's why.
What made you even think and say that, Mitch? I'm perplexed.
Because blood's not gold. and I just remembered it because I was just
I
thinking
knew-
about the
it's like-
movie.
as
And I was
knew
like,
about
look,
it,
all
it
the
was-
showers in the movie everywhere.
I mean, it was an interesting way to get all that kind of gore in there by everything being gold.
Yeah.
Also, Twitch didn't hear that because I muted myself again, so I apologize. The running theme?
What a movie. So there it is. That's our 40-plus minute discussion on Thor: Love and Thunder. Obviously, we talked about various things. There'll still be plenty more to talk about, as there will be more interviews, info drop, and obviously the commentary from the directors that will drop. Then we'll get a bunch more stuff. But overall, it's a movie. Fans seem to be divided. The score was somewhat divisive, but overall, it's not a rotten film by any stretch of the imagination. And I've seen some people that are making out to be literally the worst MCU or the worst Marvel film, and I'm just like, guys, half the Fox library, half the Fox library of Marvel movies exist, okay, and all the Sony movies recently. So
and the Incredible Hulk is right there.
No.
Okay, that's a bit mean.
No, it's the worst one.
No. Come on, Guardians 2 exists. Come on.
Hey, okay.
I mean, I've done my rankings and I put that above Hulk.
Yeah, that's true.
Guardians 2 is one of those movies where it's like, I don't think it's a bad movie, but it does not work for me.
Yeah, that's it. Yep. So there it is, everybody. That was our talk for Thor: Love and has officially brought us to the end of this show. It's been a longer podcast than normal. Hopefully people enjoy it. Only 3 topics, though. Anybody want to show anything or say anything before we get the hell out of here?
All praise the ninny of the ninny. That's the best god.
Gore couldn't beat Cookie Cop.
Daredevil should have been in the movie.
Oh, shut the hell up.
Mainly Ben Affleck's. Specifically Ben Affleck's.
I'm going to reach through the screen and grab you by your little, padlock necklace and drag you through and beat
Joke's
the hell
on you,
out
I'm not wearing it right now.
Joke's on you! Daredevil, shut up. Sorry, Nick.
Saying
Nick, you're
I
such a
did
good
Red Hood.
sport. I'm so mean to you. We're all so mean
No,
to
it's
you.
okay.
You're such a good
He
sport.
brings it upon himself.
He does.
The moment I know if we're going back and forth in a conversation and it says Nick posted, I'm like, if I click this, if I see a Red Hood gif, I'm going to freak out. And sure enough, 50% of the time, I'm like, it's that goddamn Red Hood gif with him with the damn gun. Every time.
I mean, they're all the same, so.
Oh, that's.
I forgot we weren't recording this using my stuff, and I just reached to just play the clip of Nick screeching, and I was like, damn.
I know my soundboard over here has a bunch of mixers, so I could do those sounds, but I don't know how to program them in, and I'm not gonna take time to learn it because I'm old. So screw it. But yeah. So I guess that's it. That's gonna end the show, everybody. So
Alrighty.
yeah, thank you everybody for joining us. Go follow the other dudes on all their social media. I'll have the links down below and popped up there. Goes to their shows. Subscribe to follow their Patreons and Nick's Trust Fund and whatever else he has. And yeah, there we go. Later, everybody.